Everybody. So we're going to work together on this worksheet to make sure that you guys know what you're doing with this whole function notation stuff. It's a little bit new. It's a little funky. Let's just make sure that you know what it all means. So this says find the value of x so the function has the given value. So this is a little bit different than what we started with on in our lesson. Before in the lesson, we were replacing x. We were saying if x were the number we put in to the function g, what would we get out? But this time, we're looking at the fact that we actually get out the value. This is what this is saying. When you put x into the function g, they're telling us the value is 5 when that comes out. So if you remember that g of x really is just another word for y. So y is equal to 5, right? That's really all this is saying right here. This is saying that exact same thing. Y is equal to 5. And over here, this is really just saying y is equal to 8x minus 11. So if that's really what all it's saying, then if y is equal to 8x minus 11, and they're telling us that y is equal to 5, then wouldn't it make sense to just say that 5 would replace y, and that's equal to 8x minus 11. So then I would solve this by adding 11 to both sides, and I get 16 equals 8x. And if I divide by 8 and divide by 8, then I get 2 is equal to x. So really, all I'm doing when I'm solving this problem is I'm substituting the value of the function as y into here. So it's kind of working backwards. Instead of putting in x, this time we're putting in y and solving for x. So let's go ahead and look at it this way over here on this other equation right here. So v of x is really like saying y equals, right? And it's saying v of x is equal to negative 2x minus 2. So y is equal to negative 2x minus 2. Over here, they're telling us that the output, when you put in x into the function v, the output, or y, is equal to 12, right? So if that's true, again, I'm going to ask you, if that's true, then I should be able to just replace y with the value of 12. So 12 has to equal negative 2x minus 2. And now I just solve that equation for x. I'm going to add 2 to both sides. I get 14 equals negative 2x. Divide by negative 2 on both sides. And I get negative 7 equals x. Okay, so these problems are just giving you the value, the y value. They're giving you the output value, and they're asking you to replace the output value and then solve for x. Go ahead and try number 3, press pause, and then come back. So again, I'm going to try to skip that step of having to rewrite everything. K of x is equal to 3/2 x plus 7. They're telling me that k of x is also equal to negative 2. It's almost like this is a substitution, like a system, right? Y is equal to this, y is equal to this. So I should be able to substitute and just replace the numbers. So I am going to say negative 2, which is the value of k of x, equals 3/2 x plus 7, right? So if I subtract 7 from both sides, then I get negative 9 equals 3/2 x. And if you remember what we have to do to both sides of this equation, if we're going to solve this, we're going to have to multiply by the reciprocal on both sides. So I'm going to multiply by 2/3 on this side. And I'm also going to multiply by 2/3 on this side. So I'm kind of showing a bunch of steps all in one here. I'm going to try to move things over so that it makes a little bit more sense. Okay, so I'm going to multiply by 2/3 because it's the reciprocal of 3/2, and then that will help me isolate x. Well, 2/3 of 9 is 6, and it's negative, so this is going to be -6. And on the other side, I get x. So x is equal to -6. Go ahead, press pause, try number 4. So again, I am looking at j of x is equal to -4x plus 9, and j of x is equal to 8. So that means I'm going to just replace j of x with 8, and that has to be the same as the value of -4x plus 9. So if I subtract 9 from both sides, get -1 equals -4x. And I have to divide by -4 on both sides, and I get 1/4 equals x. Double check my work, make sure I'm doing it right. Sometimes I do make mistakes. I know I have, especially more now that we've been home. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's I'm just too happy to be sitting here in a comfy chair. I don't know. I can always check it though, right? Like if I put in x as my input value into the function j, if I put x as 1/4, is -4 times a fourth, that's -1, and -1 plus 9 is 8. So I am pretty confident that I did the right thing. Now let's talk a little bit about graphing. When I graph a linear function, it's no different, absolutely 100% no different than when I graph a linear equation, okay? So I need a slope and I need an intercept, right? So this right here, the -3, that's my slope. And I'm going to write that as -3/1, just to remind myself. And my y-intercept is equal to 1. So let's go ahead and graph that. I'm going to use a different color here so it's a little bit easier to see. Here's the 1 right here. That's my dot. That's my y-intercept. And it's got a -3, so down 1, 2, 3, and over 1. It's going to go through this point, or I could go up 3 and back 1. Should have a negative slope nonetheless, right? And then I'm just going to use my line tool to neaten that up a little bit. It's going to look like this. Okay, go ahead and try the next one. All right, so we've got over here, we've got a slope. This is y equals 1/4 x. Oh no, I can't see through it now. 1/4 x minus 2. And my slope is 1/4. And my y-intercept is -2. So I am going to take that information and put that onto my graph down here. If the y-intercept is -2, that's going to go here. The slope is up 1 over 4, the positive 1/4 slope, or down 1 back 4, right? And again, I'm just going to take the line tool and neaten that up a little bit so that I can connect the dots and I get this line. So again, a linear function is no different than a linear equation, just the function notation is different. Really, this should have said right here, funny thing, instead of saying y up here, this should have said f of x. And instead of saying y over here, this really should have said h of x. Because that's really what we're doing. Remember, we're replacing the variable y with this other name for the function. All right, last question down at the bottom here. So you have $124. You earn $22 each time you mow your neighbor's lawn. The function S of X is equal to 22X plus 124. So let's remember the 22 each time you mow your neighbor's lawn. So that means X, this must be what X is representing right here, okay? The number of times I mow my neighbor's lawn, I don't owe him a lawn, but that's how many times I mow his lawn is X. And 124, if I use a slightly different color here, 124 is how much I already have, okay? So the fact that they're talking about my total savings, they're saying savings, they used S to represent the function savings, of the every time I mow my neighbor's lawn can be calculated by this result. All right, so I'm going to do that with the typewriter here because I think that my work will be a little bit better. I'm going to mow 5 times. So if you remember, mowing 5 times, actually, hold on a second. If I mow 5 times, then that's actually X, right? Whoops, I used the wrong color. Blue, right? X. 5 times is going to be in place of the X. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use this equation. S of 5 will end up being, 22 times 5 and then plus 124. So I'm going to go ahead and use my calculator. 22 times 5, that should be easy enough. That's 110, right? 22 times 5, yeah. Plus 124 is $234. So that means my savings after 5 mows will be $234. I'm going to put that with a label here. All right, you can press pause and try the next one if you want to, or you can work along with me. How many times do you have to mow to save a total of $300? Well, how many times I have to mow is X. And this time the total amount of money, my total savings, remember, is that function that is S of X. So I'm going to use S of X here just to remind myself that's what I'm replacing in this function. All right, so that means this time 300 has to equal 22x plus 124. I'm going to subtract both sides. Get 76, 176 equals 22x. I divide by 22 on both sides. Then I get 176 divided by 22 is causing me a lot of problems. 8 equals x. What does this mean? This means I have to mow 8 times to save a total of $300.